Hey guys, Tomo back again. Welcome to my 1 week review of the Galaxy Z Flip 5. The Flip 5 is the latest and greatest from Samsung. It is the successor to the Flip 4, and this year it comes with a number of improvements, including a larger cover display and a more powerful processor. So I've been using this phone for a week, and this is my post-hype review. We'll start off with the design and build quality, because this is one of the most unique part about the flipping phone. So the Flip 5 has a similar design compared to the Z Flip 4, with a few key changes this year. The first is the cover screen. You get a bigger display in the front instead of just a tiny bar to view small notifications. And the larger screen just makes it easier to check widgets. You can look at the time, control music playback, and you can do a lot more without having to open up your phone. You can even use apps on the outer display as well, and by default, there's only 5 apps that you can use, but if you really wanted to use every single apps, you would need to install Good Lock in the Galaxy Store. And most people don't know that unless you are an enthusiast. Then you gotta download Multi-Star after you download Good Lock. After that, you have to go back into Good Lock, and then you can use any app you want on the outer of the screen. So Samsung designed it this way because they want developers to actually optimize the app on the cover screen. So right now, there's only 5 apps that is completely optimized. And if you want to use more than 5 apps, you really have to force your way and do some research in order to find this functionality. You may be wondering why you even want to use apps on the cover screen in the first place, but the fact of the matter is, the worst part about owning a flipping phone is you actually have to flip and open every single time you want to use it. It takes time, work, effort, and it is additional friction compared to just a normal standard slap phone that you can just pick up and use right away. It really does get annoying, and over time, going through that motion of having to open up your phone, it does become a pain. So just having more functionality on the cover screen does make your life easier. It took me about 4 days to remember Good Lock was a thing. And part of that is because it's not really intuitive to find. Even when you go into the cover display setting, there's nothing indicating that. You really have to do a Google research, especially if you've never heard of Good Lock before, just to find out how to use other apps on the cover screen. The Galaxy Z Flip 5 is a little bit lighter than the Z Flip 4, which is a plus, since the biggest selling point of these flipping phones is the portability factor. Anything they can do to make it lighter and thinner is always appreciated. I don't like how the fingerprint scanner is so high. It already takes effort to open up the phone, and I had to climb my finger up a little bit more. And I would often miss this or need to graze it a couple of times before I unlock the phone. You can turn on Face Unlock, but Face Unlock is not as secure, and I feel like half the time it doesn't even unlock the way that I expected. So I just wish Samsung made the fingerprint sensor lower so that when you hold the phone, it's naturally already resting there. And one way around that is you can unlock the phone while the phone is closed, but that is still a little bit funky, especially using your left hand. You have to reach around the phone and try to rub the fingerprint sensor. And I find that when I'm doing the stretch, I would always miss it, and it takes a few times. And on the cover screen, it's kind of hard to tell when your phone is actually unlocked. There's this little icon in the middle that will show you that it's unlocked, but I just wish it just changed to another screen or something so that's easier to tell. Because sometimes I find myself tapping the fingerprint sensor a few times, even though it is already unlocked. I just didn't realize it. And anytime you use this phone holding it, it just requires more thinking. Whether you have one hand or two hand, one hand to use is doable, but you have to figure out a strategy for that. Do you want to dig your thumb in and try to force it up, or do you want to dig your thumb in and kind of flick out the phone? So either way, it's possible. It does take some practice, and I have used many folding phones in the past, and I still find this part to be uncomfortable. I wish they made a button or something like a sidekick where you can just flick it open. That way you can just do it without much effort and thought. But every time I pick up this phone and the phone is closed, I have to think about, do I just want to use the cover screen? Is that enough information for me, or do I want to open it? And if I do want to open it, how do I want to open it? Do I want to be dramatic and flick it out? Is it in my left hand? Is it in my right hand? Do I have 2 hands available, or do I only have 1 hand available and the other hand I'm holding my baby? So it's just a lot of thought that go into simply picking up and using a flipping phone. On the surface, just the design looks nice, it's portable, it's stylish, but on a day-to-day basis, it is not that practical. Unless it's like having a small phone in your pocket. But actually, even that, it's basically the same weight as the regular S23. It's just folded in half. So even though lengthwise it can be smaller, but width or depth-wise is actually thicker since you're folding it up and putting it in your pocket. So Portability and size is debatable in how much smaller it is, but I guess just lengthwise, it does help that it's not sticking out like some of those larger phones. I know I'm going into a lot of detail about the design part, but this is what makes the phone unique and cool. And if you really think about it, it is really annoying to use the phone half the time, especially you have to open it up a lot to use the bigger screen. And once it is in the bigger screen, it's basically the same size as any slab phone out there today, but it's just more friction just to get there in the first place. Unlike the Galaxy Z Fold, when you open it, you get a larger display, so in a way, it's kind of more satisfying because you get a bigger screen experience, but with this phone, it is smaller, but once you open it up, it's the same size as any other phone. So, but anywho, just gets the fact that it can fold and bend. It does offer some unique functionality. It is a built-in tripod. You can dock this thing anywhere you want and start recording. But one of the downsides of doing that is it results in vertical videos, which is fine for YouTube Shorts or TikTok. But you want to record horizontal videos, which I think is a better format for YouTube. Then you have to turn the phone on the side and trying to lean against something. It gets awkward. And at that point, you might as well just put it on a tripod just like any other phone. So it really all depends on how you want to use your phone. Although I really do appreciate the covered preview screen. So right now I'm recording this video on a tripod. And just having the preview screen is very helpful because I can see myself, frame myself. At least it makes it easier for me to look at the camera if I can see the preview screen. Versus most of the time I'm recording a video using a standard phone. I just tend to look in random places, or sometimes it may look like I'm reading, but I just forget that my eyes just wander around while recording videos. But anywho, and just having the cover screen, I do like that I can see the time that I'm recording. It helps me pace myself and not ramble as much. Display wise, you're getting a 6.7 inch display, 120 Hz refresh rate. It is bright and sharp, 1750 peak brightness outside, so all that good stuff. We don't have any issue with viewing angles or anything like that. Although Samsung did give the best screen to the iPhone 15. I believe their phone is 2000 nits outside. 250 nits not going to make that much of a difference, but it's just more bragging rights. But you really think about it, Samsung makes the display for the iPhone, so who's really having the bragging rights is debatable. iPhone has the brightest peak brightness, but Samsung actually makes that for them. So this all depends how you think about it. But regardless, this phone pretty bright and vibrant, so you're not going to have any issue using it. My only issue is that it is so long and narrow that is very difficult to use with one hand. I try to keep all my apps on the bottom half of the screen so I don't need to reach or stretch to my phone, climb my way up to the top. So there are ways you can get around that. But regardless, I feel like there's always an action at the top right-hand corner of the screen that requires me to use, whether it's a search button, a menu, or there's always something at the top that requires me to tilt and bend my phone. And every time I do tilt it and climb my way up, it gets risky because the phone is really slippery without a case. I know I could just buy a case and slap it on, but I tend to like to use my phone without cases just to enjoy the phone for the way that it was meant to be built. But the smarter route is to put a case on there because you drop these things and shatter it. It's going to be a lot of full-grown adults crying out there. And I actually did drop this phone while the phone was closed. I was fumbling trying to figure out how to open up the phone and just digging through the cover display and just trying to squeeze my thumb in, attempt to open the phone. I actually dropped it right onto the shopping cart. Luckily, it landed flat. There's no damages, scratches, crack, or anything like that. But it definitely could have been a lot worse if it just went through the shopping cart and hit the floor instead. So my favorite feature about the Galaxy Z Flip 5 is actually the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. The processor is the latest and greatest that Android has to offer in 2023. And I do like that the phone does come in 256 gigabyte of storage as well as the base model. A lot of phones still ship with 128 these days, and 256 just gives you a little bit more wiggle room, especially you do record a lot of videos and take a lot of photos. And this year, the new chip is able to handle all the demanding tasks, gaming, and it results in a really good battery life as well. And I saw that for the Galaxy S23, there was a significant bump in battery life, at least 30% compared to the S22. For the Fold 5, I didn't really notice that much of a difference, I think because the larger screen just takes up more battery, so on a day-to-day basis, it wasn't that much of a difference for me. But this year with the Flip 5, even though the phone itself is only 3700 milliamp, I would say it is the best battery life experience I have on any Galaxy this year. So there's a hot take for you guys, and I wasn't expecting that. Under light usage day, after a week, I've gotten 16 to 22 hours of battery life. Moderate usage, 12 to 15 hours of battery life. And heavy usage, 10 hours of battery life. Screen on time, it really varies depending on how you use your phone, but I don't typically have my phone on for more than 4 hours a day. So I'm just concerned about the overall battery life and the standby time. And this is a significant improvement over the Galaxy Z Flip 4 last year. I feel like every time I start my day at 9 a.m., I usually would need to charge it by 5 to 7 p.m. But for the Flip 5, I can truly say that for a light to moderate user with minimum screen on time, you can say that this is a true all-day battery life phone. I would typically wake up at about 8 a.m. or begin my day at 8 a.m. And by the time I go to bed at 11 or 12 at night, there's still some juice left. So it's nice to be able to go through a full day without scrambling to find a charger midway through. And I'm currently recording this video on the Galaxy Z Flip 5 as well. Even on days where I spend 10 to 30 minutes recording a video, I still manage 12 to 16 hours of battery life. So that is considered moderate usage for me. The battery life is probably my most favorite part about this phone. For the size and portability, it offers excellent battery life. And the cover screen is also really good for vlogging as well. The camera itself, pretty decent. It does lack the 3x zoom that my 3-year-old Galaxy S20 does have, and the better camera system is actually on the Galaxy S23 series, so you can get a better camera for $200 less with the base model. It is slightly below flagship level, but it does the job for most normal people. So even though it has a $1,000 price tag, Samsung is not offering the best camera that money can buy, even from their own lineup. So overall, the Galaxy Z Flip 5 is a great foldable phone. It has a larger cover display, a powerful processor, a more durable hinge this year that closes completely flat. And it does make a big difference as well, because in prior years, since it doesn't close completely flat, every time I take in and out of my pocket, it does pick up a lot of dust. And since it does not have dust resistant, it looks very messy and dirty in the inside screen every time you use it. This year, it still picks up dust and is dirty, but results in a slightly cleaner user experience. It does have water resistant though, and most flagship phones do have that these days, but I do want to point it out because the Motorola Razr Plus opted to have dust resistant, but it does not have water resistant. So it just shows that even though these flipping phones are cool, there's still a lot of compromises that have to be made for an expensive phone, not to mention the crease that's in the middle. It's still there, you do notice it, your finger does graze across it. I wish I could find a way to get rid of it, but I don't know if it's gonna go away anytime soon in the next 5 to 10 years or ever, but we shall see. Watching videos, you do see it at a glance. The light hit it at a certain angle. You do see the crease. So even though these phones are nice, the crease is there. It does get dirty. So it's just a lot of things you need to consider when using a flipping phone. And still compromises as well. Motorola is using a 1-year-old chip. They left out water resistant. Samsung don't have the best camera system. They left out dust resistant. The bigger cover screen is nice. The hinge is cool. The foldable phone is unique. But I still say the battery life is the best part of this phone. And you hear people say all the time about how phones have all-day battery life, but it is rare that I actually truly get an all-day battery life with this phone. And for this one, I can really say by the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I don't need to worry about charging it. If you're looking for a foldable phone that is stylish, has great performance, a great camera, then the Galaxy Z Flip 5 is an awesome option. Especially if you want to get to a folding phone for the first time, I think the Flip 5 is a nice gateway instead of jumping straight to the fold. You can jump straight to the fold, but it costs twice as much. It weighs twice as much, so I think that's going to be the biggest challenge of using the fold. It does offer a really cool tablet experience in your pocket, but you don't need the tablet experience every single time. Just carrying around a brick all day long can be very cumbersome as well. But the most unique part of using a flipping phone is if you're actually trying to reduce your screen on time, actually enjoy your surrounding and people around you, it may be a really good selling point that not many people talk about. So there's a lot of things to consider. I hope you guys find this video to be helpful. I'm going to cover this phone for another week or two. Let me know if you guys enjoy these video daily blog series and you have a preference over what phone I should cover next. I prefer to cover one phone at a time so I can spend 100% of my time with it as my true daily driver so that I can provide in-depth and accurate coverage. The Pixel 8 is coming out soon, iPhone 15 is already out, S23 FE is also releasing. I have never tried Nothing Phone 2 or the Moto Edge either, so lots of options out there. Let me guys know you guys have any preference. Appreciate the time as always. Remember to like and subscribe and see you guys in the next video.